All right. So like we said, the topic is the early ante period. So for the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 podcasts, we focused on the early stages and how to play deeper stacked, which a lot of tournament players are not necessarily super comfortable with. We had a lot of topics to explore. Now we're moving into where antes have been introduced. So I think the first concept that comes up here is changing gears. So could you guys talk about a little, what happens in your mind, or how do you see the tournament or the table once antes are introduced? What changes for you guys? Is there a gear that you do change to, or what? What happens to you guys in your mind?
Well, for me, first of all, as soon as there's antes, I tend to give less respect to an open. Like if it's 5100 with no ante and an MTT reg makes it 300, I just assume he has some sort of premium. Where
Right.
if they're opening once there's antes, no matter how small, I immediately get into the mode that they could be opening light. And obviously, depending on my stack, if I'm still hella deep, then I don't get too crazy ready at the beginning. But if I'm somewhere around 30 or 35 bigs and the antes are introduced, I start opening up my range vastly. That's
Right.
pretty much the big difference for me.
I mean, when like you said, 5100, you just don't want to risk the reward of winning a small pot as opposed to the risk of losing a big one at that point isn't worth getting into the action, and that's why people are more tight in ABC when there's no antes. But once you break that threshold, I guess we'll call it, into the antes, that's what everybody's waiting for, and it becomes just a game of dead money at that point. And as the antes increase, the dead money increases, and the more slight plays, the thinner plays, where you're going to have to, like for instance racing or 60-40s, where from this point on in the tournament to win, you're going to have to tackle 20 to 25 or 30 of these spots. Okay, so the antes are what drives this, and it's basically what drives the tournament from that point.
Yeah. So I think we kind of recognize that you have to up the aggression a little bit, play more hands. One thing I noticed from watching one of your videos, though, Casey, is and I think you briefly mentioned this just now. If you already have a huge stack at that point, I've noticed that early ante period, you're not necessarily looking for every steal spot because, like, if you gain 625, is it going to add a lot to your 60K stack or something like that?
Right. If I have 150 big blinds, right, or 100 big blinds or 80 big blinds, there's no difference if I have 83 big blinds as opposed to 80.
Right.
It's just not making a big enough difference for me to really get crazy and take my every single spot. If I'm really, really deep, even if there is antes, I won't take every spot. I'll still take, obviously, spots that you have to take, like raising the cutoff with 8-9 of spades or something. I'll still do that, but I won't be from every position focusing on who's the nittiest guy and always raising his big blind. I do this sort of stuff when it starts getting deeper and there's more value in stealing, but I won't do that when I'm still really, really deep and there is antes.
Right.